Okay, we getting ready to go in.
All right.
All right, I think we're on. Meeting is now live on Facebook. All right. We good to go? Start sharing. Let people hop on. There you go.
Yeah, I'm about to say I'm waiting for it to pop up on mine. Here we go. All right. Yeah, I'm waiting for it to pop up on mine. Okay. There you go. All right. Okay. Hey Rob, put it on gallery view.
Gallery.
Up top. Yeah, gallery view.
There we go. Can you see that now?
Hey Rob, put it on gallery view.
Gallery.
Up top. Yeah, there we go. All right.
Got it?
Yep.
All right.
Hey, am I backwards or I'm good?
You good.
Cool. Unapologetically dope. Like that.
All right, I'm trying to tag you all.
All right.
Hey, Clarence.
What's going on? How you
You know
feeling?
what it is, man. It's good to see you, man. Always.
Same to you, my brother. Same to you, man.
This is what I'll do. Go on and create. Can you all go to the page and create a watch party?
Ran up like 4-9.
All right, there we go. Clarence, I see you on there.
Yeah, yeah, so it's working? Okay, cool.
Hey, listen, gentlemen. I need to get some of these shirts I'm seeing, man. Some of these shirts I'm seeing, I gotta get some of these shirts, man.
Let's create a line.
We need to. Even Brandon.
That's what we talking about today. That's exactly what we talking about today.
It's funny. All we got on is Nike and Under Armour.
Yeah, it's time to be branded. Yes, sir.
Wear your own stuff. Wear your own stuff.
Hey, Brandon, were you able to create the watch party? Because I wasn't able to tag it because I can't go in there and tag. But anyway, let's get started. Create a watch party on the ManUp Series site. Hey, everybody, we got Dr. Victor J. Coleman Jr. with us today. A real treat. I'm so excited to have him with us. This brother, man, he's really been an inspiration to me. We met some time ago, actually through his wife, but we ended up becoming very, very close through AAU basketball. Actually, his 13-year-old son. Well, he was how old? 11.
Yeah, 10 or 10, 11.
Or 11. Yep. So just through that mentoring and coaching, Victor and I got very close, and he's truly been an inspiration to me. I know he's been an inspiration to some of the other brothers on here. So welcome to the ManUp Series. We got myself, Rob, Brandon, Chris, and Clarence. Say what's up, fellas.
What's up? What's up?
Blessings.
What's up with it?
What's going on?
Dr. Coleman is a motivational speaker and definitely an entrepreneur. He's really knowledgeable about a lot of things. I'll let him go into all of that. But he actually has a 9-to-5 too. And he's very good at that too. So I don't know if you all noticed, every week I had this on and it says, let's take flight. Hashtag, let's take flight. But the other part says, my life, my story. And guess where I got that from? Dr. Coleman right here. And I wear it every day for inspiration because he's really helped me to understand that, you know, my story, my life is important, and everybody has something to contribute to our life and to society, and we can also use those things. Coleman right here. And I wear it every day for inspiration because mute there really computer or phone. There we go. But really has inspired me to understand that, you know, everybody has something that they can utilize in their life from their story, their experience, to reach success, to reach you know, goals, to help other people. So he's really, like I said, really been inspiration to do that. I got a couple vision boards up on my home that he helped motivate me to get done. So I'll let him go into some more stuff about himself. But again, the title of today's show is Use What You Got to Get What You Want and Need. So he's going to go a little bit into that, and our discussion is going to revolve around that. So we appreciate you all for joining us today. Dr. Coleman, please take it away.
Listen, first I want to say, fellas, thank you for sharing your platform with me. Thank you for doing this for men, right? We need a space and a place where we can talk about men things and the challenges we face. So thank you for doing this. This is phenomenal. A little about me. The first time I seen a pair of handcuffs, I was in the 1st/2nd grade. So when you think about that, I set out on life already on the wrong foot, on the wrong path. And that would become a lifestyle. When you hear people say career criminal, that's what a career criminal would look like in some people's mind. And that would continue on, like I said, 1st, 2nd grade, all the way up till I was 28 years old. Different run-ins with the law. And when I travel as a speaker, when I started as a speaker, I didn't realize how important my life was. Rob talked about the band, right? Where it says my life, my story. And I would share bits of my story. And I didn't realize I wasn't being authentic in sharing my story. I was hiding the mug shots. I was hiding the depression. I was hiding the low self-esteem from people when I would go speak because I was still embarrassed about that side of my life. And I remember the first time that I publicly shared those mug shots, and it was like, wow. I had an aunt who told me you wouldn't be able to make the change you want to make in America until you tell your true, authentic story. And I told her I would never tell that story because people would judge me. And I had to realize, regardless to how good, bad, or great you were, whatever it may be, people are going to always judge. It didn't matter, right? And I shared that story. In fact, it was last August that I shared the mugshots on Facebook. And I typed the post out 3 different times because I wasn't confident enough to put it out there just yet. And I remember that last time I wrote it, I just hit send and put my phone down. And when I picked my phone up a few minutes later, it already had hundreds of shares, thousands of likes, and it had went viral. And I was like, whoa, because I was telling my story of how I went from being arrested in the 1st grade and all the battles I had. I gave an outline of my life, and I lined the picture, my graduation photo with my PhD, I lined the picture with 6 mugshots. And what I found is that story or that life I was living, it wasn't for me. It was for somebody else. It was for God's glory, but it was for somebody else's benefit, right? And in sharing that, so many men started inboxing me on social media saying, thank you, you give me hope. And I'm like, wow, you know, here I was afraid to tell my story because of what it would make me feel like. But now I feel good because there are men who are being transformed through my transparency. So again, like I said, from 1st grade to age 28, I had my run-ins with the law. And I just finally said, you know what, I'm done. I'm sick and tired of the same routine. And Rob mentioned my youngest son is how we met. His name is Vashawn. And I remember there's a picture of him holding $10,000 cash. And I share that in my presentations when I go speak. But that was one of the pictures that changed my life. I said to myself, wow, I'm giving him permission to duplicate what I'm doing. I'm giving him permission to be who I am. And I'm not even proud of who I am. And it was in that moment I realized that I needed to change my life. So I enrolled in school and set out on that journey of education. Now, what I didn't tell you was I flunked the second grade because I couldn't read and write. And here I am at 28 years old. I'm gonna go back to school. Now, I battled that depression and low self-esteem of flunking the second grade all those years. And even earlier today, I was somewhere and someone said, oh man, you should have graduated in 98. Well, little did they know I should have graduated in 98, but I failed the second grade, so I didn't graduate till 99, right? That part of me, I battled that because my peers they had moved on, and here I was stuck in the second grade again, repeating, trying to learn how to get this reading and writing thing down. And that would become a lifetime battle. When I enrolled in school, my kids were my inspiration. I used them to push me to the next level. I sat down with my kids with confidence, helping them with their homework while doing my homework. And by them seeing me confident, they wanted to do homework and spend that time with dad. And I was confident because they believed in me enough to allow me to sit at the table and do homework with them, not knowing that I really didn't know, the math and stuff they was working on. I wasn't smarter than the fifth grader, as they say, right? So looking at that in life, what I found is in life, in that scenario, you'll always run into the old you, but how you respond to the old you is where you grow, is what shows your growth. So during that educational time, I had to learn how to write papers. I had to learn how to read books, like in detail, not just, the skim, okay, I found the answer, let me answer the question on the test. I got to read and be able to cite this stuff in papers and speak like I have some sense. Well, I got through my bachelor's and master's program with no problems because it was focused on music business, and that's my passion, music. You had me. Well, through that journey, trying to get into the entertainment industry, I interned, did all the internships, all the volunteerships, as I call them, and nobody would hire me. It was like, man, why can't I get into this entertainment industry? I kept hitting this brick wall. They let me intern. And I remember the last internship I had, I was with Atlantic Records. I would fly from Toledo to New York on a Spirit airline, well, from Detroit to New York on a Spirit Airlines. I spent $100 a week to fly there, and I stayed in a hostel so I could do my internship with Atlantic Records. And I don't know what the draw out was, but they didn't get my background check for like 8 weeks. When my background check came back, they said, whoa, you can't even be in the building. Whoa. I was like, oh man, here I am. I done put my life on the right path. I'm doing things a better way. I'm trying to make a change. And I done hit this roadblock. I done ran into the old me again. So I can't lie, it was embarrassing. I went into a mild depression. Like, what do I do now? And I said, you know what? Don't give up. Just keep pushing. And I just kept pushing, and kept trying. And I remember my boss came to me one day. I worked for the utility company. He came to me and said, hey, they want to know if you'd be interested in being a supervisor. And I said, no, I'm trying to move to New York, right? Sometimes as men, we get a little bullheaded and we want it our way. I'm trying to move to New York. And he said, all right, well, just think about it. I'm like, no, I ain't thinking about it. I'm moving to New York. That was the plan. And I'm not the most religious guy, but I'm spiritual. And I remember that Sunday I went to go to church, and I'm on my way to my church. And as I'm headed to my church, I recall hearing the Spirit tell me, no, I want you to go here. And I'm like, no, I'm going where I'm comfortable, right? Too often we want to go where we're comfortable, and that's why we don't grow. But the Spirit was saying, no, not today, you're going here. And it got louder and it was heavy on me. So I went, and the pastor was up, he was preaching, he was doing his thing. And I just remember him pausing right in the middle of his sermon. He said, listen, I don't know who this message is for, but I just heard from the Spirit of the Lord that you've been offered a promotion and you've turned it down. God understands that your education isn't in that field and your desires isn't with that organization. But if you don't take this opportunity, you'll be stuck where you are the rest of your life. I remember I just slid down in the pew like, uh-oh. I knew he was talking to me. I knew, right? And I said, wow, here I am visiting a church. And God has used this man to tell me something that nobody in this church knew. So I remember walking in on Monday and I went to my supervisor and said, if that position is still available, I'd like to be considered. And I turned my resume in. So fast forward, I become a supervisor. And I remember becoming a supervisor in June of 2012. By August 1st of 2012, I was enrolled for my master's degree. Now, mind you, I never had a desire to go back for a bachelor's degree. Now here I am trying to chase a master's degree. So I'm on the master's degree program, and midway through the program, I heard the Spirit tell me, now it's time for a PhD. And I'm like, nah, I don't know about no PhD. What's that? So I began to investigate what this PhD was, right? And I was like, man, that looked like a lot of work. Well, while investigating the PhD, I seen there was a DBA program. It's a step down from the PhD. You don't have to do as much work. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna enroll for the DBA. I kid you not, the day before class, the Spirit said to me, that's not what I told you to do. And I remember calling the advisor and said, I need to switch to the PhD program the day before classes, because I had been in that spot before where the Spirit had said something, and I knew that I was blessed by being obedient to what I was told to do. So I switched into the PhD program. Now, remember I told you I failed the second grade because I struggled with reading and writing. In the PhD program, the first class you had to take was a writing course. You had to learn to write at a scholarly level. And I'm like, oh man, it's over. It's over with. I can't do this. And I remember talking to my professor and I said, listen, don't baby me. Don't baby me. If it's wrong, tell me it's wrong. Be hard on me. Be harder on me than anybody else. And I got through that quarter. I'm like, all right, I can do this. Second quarter came. It was January. I'm in Atlanta where all the students get together because this course was online. And I'll never forget it. It was the year that Atlanta had the big freeze. They shut the city down. I flew in and I'm there and I get there. Everybody got shirts and ties and blazers and polos. And here I come with a ball cap and joggers. And I'm like, yo, I don't belong here. I'm so out of my comfort zone. And I'm hearing people talk. I don't speak the same way. I don't walk the same way. All right, but we're gonna get through the weekend. So we get in the classroom and I noticed that they got their research lined out. They know what they're here for. They know what a PhD is. I just signed up because this voice, right, has told me this is what was next. And I remember saying, you know what? I'm good. I got a master's degree. I'm good. I'm gonna finish out the weekend. I'm gonna finish out the quarter and I'm done. I'm good. I'm gonna go on ahead and just keep living life with this master's degree. I left the classroom because I felt this big looking at all these people present their studies and talk about it. I mean, they were so passionate. And I'm just this little kid lost, like, yeah, I'm here. And I left my room the classroom. I went upstairs to the hotel room because we were in a hotel. Got up to my hotel room. And because when I left out that morning, the curtains were still closed. So it was dark. Imagine walking into your hotel room, it's dark. And I'm feeling this big, right? I'm battling that self-esteem issue from the second grade all over again as a grown man. And I said, you know what? I'm done. So I called home and I remember talking to my children. I have 3 children. I talked to my daughter first and she said, hey, Vic, what's going on? And I talked because I traveled with the music stuff. So I would always call home and talk to my kids. I talked to my youngest child, Bashan, next. And, Dad, you having fun, And it was when I spoke to my middle child that I realized that life wasn't even about me. Right in that moment, my middle child said to me, I'll talk to you later, future Dr. Coleman. And I began to cry. It was at that moment when my middle child spoke life into me when I didn't believe in myself. He uplifted me when I didn't believe in myself. And I remember trying to hurry him get off the phone. I'm sorry, I get teary-eyed every time I tell the story, man.
Yeah.
He uplifted me at a time when I wasn't even believing in myself. And I remember getting off the phone because I didn't want him to hear me cry. And I said, man, now what? And I just remember hearing the Spirit say to me, you're not just his father, you're his mentor. And I said, really? I'm his mentor? And I remember rushing out of the hotel room back down to the classroom. And the first thing I did, I flipped my laptop open and I typed the words mentoring into the school library. And I began reading mentoring articles. And one thing it said to me was, minority mentoring is under-researched. We don't know enough about African-American mentoring and Latino mentoring. And I was like, okay. And that became my study. It was that moment that pushed me to the next level by listening to my child speak life or speak, motivation into me by calling me future Dr. Coleman. So, when we think about life, man, and you think about what you go through, I always tell people, man, don't count the little people out. Sometimes we bullheaded, right? As men. Sometimes, we know. I know the answer. No, that young man spoke life into me that morning. And I thank him every day because he was one of the leading reasons why I changed my life. He was one of the leading reasons. When I tried to move to New York, he said, yeah, Dad, do it. He believed in me at times when I didn't believe in myself. At times when I didn't believe in myself, man. So, we talk about life and we talk about what it's really worth. I know, I spent a lot of time selling drugs and I made good money. 4 cars, candy paint, TVs, rims. I'm at a time, you know what I'm saying? A young kid. I had the money, pockets fat. We taking trips, we buying whatever we want. But I was empty. Wow. I was empty. And I didn't realize I was empty until I was 30-some years old, sitting in a hotel room with tears in my eyes after my middle child had spoke life into me. So I tell people all the time, don't get caught up in thinking that you so manly that can't nobody tell you nothing. Everybody can learn something from somebody. Every one of us, you know what I'm saying? And real quick, I just share one more example of that. A young brother, I graduated with my entertainment business. So I was trying to help some cats learn some stuff about the entertainment industry. And this young man, we just bumped into each other recently. And he wanted to apologize because we had fallen out. And I said, nah, it was meant to happen the way it happened. I said, but I want to tell you, thank you, man. You said something to me in that time that I didn't realize. You planted a seed. And he said, well, what is that? I said, you told me, yeah, hard money pays off, but smart money pays more. And that's a motto I live by. Write that down. I made the money work for me. I was working hard for my money, and now I've transitioned and my money works for me. I love it. You see what I'm saying? So we can learn from anybody, man. It doesn't matter who it is. We just have to have an open mind and be willing to listen, willing to love, and willing to learn.
That's it right there. And that's why I opened up with saying how you've inspired me, man, because that is so true. None of us can get to a point where we think we got it all, and if somebody is doing something so awesome that you admire it and admonish it, tap into that. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. That's what we got to start learning how to do, right? We got to start learning how to come together and get off of this high horse and say, oh man, I got it all together. You know, I don't need nobody's help. And we kind of touched on that, right, fellas, when we talked to Derek Gant with the finances and stuff. You know, we get this attitude like, oh man, I got it all together. But I want to go back to, I mean, your kid was your inspiration. So he made it almost to where you couldn't turn around. Yeah. You had to. He made you feel like you had to finish. Even at that point. At that point, it wasn't about you anymore. It was, I gotta do it for him. And then it flourished into, okay, I see where it is. I see where I'm going now. That's awesome, man.
In those moments when I felt like I still wanted to quit, what I was reminded of was that conversation. But also, if I quit, I now give him permission to quit at whatever he does. And my rule was, you finish what you start and you finish it with your best, right? And that's always been my rule. You know, if you want to try out for a team and you make the team, you're going to finish strong. Even if you're on the bench, you finishing strong. We're not playing them games, right? Oh, I didn't get to start, I quit. I'm not one of them parents. You know, I believe in finishing strong. So in the moment when I was the one on the bench, right? My self-esteem was on the bench. I wanted to give up. I couldn't give up.
That's awesome, man. So fellas, Chris, can you share a moment, man, when you kind of had to eat a little crow and live up to some of the things that you told your child that you had to live up to? You feel me?
There was times in my life where my kids, you know, you try to tell them what to do, how to do it, but sometimes you have to live by example. And sometimes I remember one time I was telling my kid about how he shouldn't stop and don't quit. And there was a time where I had lost my job, and I felt like, okay, I kept on applying, kept applying. I knew I had the credentials, and it was a time I wanted to quit. And I remember my son grabbed my shoulder and said, "Dad, why don't we pray about it?" And like you said, Victor, man, it was like God knows how to get your attention, and sometimes through the mouths of babes. And I felt like quitting. I felt like I was not prepared for where I want to be, and I felt there's nothing worse than a man to have a family, you lose a job, and you feel like you can't take care of your family. I don't want to go scripture, but it says a man doesn't take care of his family is worse than an infidel. And so when it feels like you don't have the education, you don't have the know-how, the knowledge, the tools, the resources to get what you need to provide for your family, it's a hurtful thing when all you can do is go to bed, lick your own wounds, get up and try it again in the morning. And so I have been there, Rob. I've been there, Clarence and Brandon and Victor, where you're in a place, in a position of trying to give advice, trying to teach and educate and enlighten, but sometimes you're speaking to yourself. And it's like that sometimes. 99% of the time when preachers preach, they preaching to themselves anyway. Yes. And so in our own right, we all are preaching to our kids. But it's a beautiful thing that when you're going through the going through, your kid can give you knowledge and enlighten you and bring you into a place of, Dad, you can do it. It is a beautiful thing that you can give knowledge to them. And when it's time for you to get it, they know when to give it back to you. And so it's a beautiful thing to hear that and to see that and to feel that. Because one thing is, God knows how to get your attention. And, Victor, I think about you when you were making all that money. Pride comes before the fall. Mm-hmm. But even though you failed, he brought you back up. Absolutely. He put you in position, he cleaned you off. And I always give illustration for application. And I'm going to say it like this, and I'm done, I promise. I'm not preaching, but I kind of am. I remember one day I came home, and I remember Christopher came to the door. He was young. He was probably like 5 or probably like 4. And Cameron was like 1. Chris came to the door. I think Cameron was 2 and Chris was 5. Chris came to the door and he greeted me. And I gave him a hug. Picked him up and gave him a hug. Cameron came to the door. His diaper was a little heavy and he smelled horrible. But I picked him up just the same as I picked up my first son. And that's a father's love. And that's the love that you had, Victor, when you was going through, you're going through. He cleaned you off and put you back on the straight and narrow path. And so I appreciate you telling the story. But I think we all, Rob and Clarence and Brandon, I think somewhere or another, you will receive a word from your child at the craziest times. Craziest times.
Hey, I was probably say every day. Yeah. They're here to teach us a lot of things too. Awesome.
And how not to quit. How not to quit. Mm-hmm. The easiest thing for us to do is quit. So yeah.
So Victor, you told your story, and I want to go back to the part where you went through some of the areas where you may have been doing some things that you probably weren't supposed to be doing, and you served some time, correct?
I never served prison time.
Well, I mean,
I've had my yeah.
So you had your run-ins, basically, and then you went to look for jobs, and they took time to do the background checks and everything. So, what's your inspiration to brothers, man, that may have been caught up in some things, in the past, and they're trying to get themselves back on their feet? We know sometimes you come out, most of the time you come out, there a lot of opportunities are not out there for you. So what's your advice to them to try to make a way for themselves?
My advice for anybody, not just somebody who's had a run-in with the streets and the law that have been bruised, but just anybody, you got to find a why, right? I talk about my children. They are my why even to this day. You got to find your why. If you're doing it just for you, you're going to burn out. But when you tap into those around you, you understand that it's bigger than you, you're going to find a way, right? You're going to tap out if it's for you, but you're going to find a way if it's for somebody else. And that's what I learned. I tell a lot of the young brothers, man, stop thinking that you're too good for McDonald's.
Yes, sir.
McDonald's will teach you something. And I'm going to give you an example. And I want everybody to really understand this. I try and tell a lot of people, go to McDonald's, work in McDonald's for 18 months, work on the front line, become a shift supervisor, become a shift assistant manager, whatever it is they promote you to. Get those skills, because them skills you can take other places. So when we talked about corporate, the utility company promoting me, the reason they promoted me, what they told me they loved about my resume was that I was a shift supervisor at Long John Silver's. I was a supervisor. You know, I did the frontline work to build the skills. I had to count the money over here. I had to make a schedule over there. So corporate America now trusts me to lead their people. I had a young man tell me, I got credentials, man. I ain't going to work in none of them places, Vic. I said, what's your credentials? Your high school diploma? Listen, I have a PhD. If I lose it all today, I'm going to McDonald's. If McDonald's don't hire me, I'm gonna go down to Kroger's and push carts until they ask me, you know, what's your social security number so we can send you a check. Like, that's not beneath you. It's an opportunity. And when we learn to tap into the opportunity, we'll grow. The other thing I'll say is this. I believe this, I preach this, and I believe it was so deep down inside of me. We should be giving 10% of who we are.
Always.
10% of who we are. Okay, you're not religious, you're not in the church, fine. Don't give it to the church. I don't care. But you should be giving 10% of who you are. God will deal with you on that journey, how he wants to deal with you. But you should be giving 10% of your time, 10% of your grind, and 10% of your dime to somebody else.
That's good, man.
That's where I got blessed. When I was at my lowest point and I didn't have a job, I went to the soup kitchen to serve. I organized neighborhood cleanups, and I volunteered at the church. See, people see you today and they be like, oh man, you made it, you doing it. Yeah, let me take you back to where I wasn't doing it. And I was doing things that you didn't get to see. And I wasn't so, I didn't smile as much as I smile today, maybe. You know, I was sleeping on my mom's sofa. You know what I'm saying? Confidence wasn't as high as it is. Let me show you what I had to do to build my confidence. I had to go down there to the soup kitchen and realize it could be much worse.
Much worse.
I'm serving somebody that's probably in the same boat or a little worse boat than me. I'm serving them a meal. Yeah, I'm going back home to sleep on my couch, but I'm serving. Hey, everybody Vic, wants to be a leader without serving.
Vic, we all one paycheck from being homeless, man.
Absolutely. We are one incident from being homeless. One incident will change anybody's life at any given time, because most of us haven't financially prepared for it.
Ooh. Say it again. But no, that's awesome right there. Say, can you repeat that? 10% of your time.
10% of your time, 10% of your grind, 10% of your dime. You should be giving it away.
There it is.
So now, as I do on Tuesdays with the free webinar, listen, no, I can't do a deep dive in 40 minutes, but I can give you high-level information. And if you're a student enough, you'll go to Google and get the rest of the information to make you successful. Sure. That's just one more way I feel that it's important for me to give.
Yeah, definitely. And so you know, and again, thank you for sharing that. That's some good word right there. Especially being in the business, you know, and that's how we kind of all came together. Some people knowing here through a business opportunity. We've developed this relationship, and we talk a lot about telling our story. You know, a lot of times we can't just, you know, put things in front of people. We gotta let people know who we are. Mm-hmm. So Clarence, you know, tell us a little bit about, you know, how you feel about, because I know you talk a lot, and I called on you because you talk a lot about stepping out of your comfort zone, and I'm seeing you grow. I'm seeing you starting to share a little more, and it's a beautiful thing, my brother, to see you stepping out there and you beginning to tell your story. So how is that feeling for you?
It's a process. I would say it like that.
Yep.
It's a process to share things that you don't want to show. you don't want to talk about.
Right.
And
Right.
so, like I said, I'm still unloading. There's so much to Clarence that I won't just share right off back. But lately I've been digging, just digging within myself, trying to work on me because I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I have to be. I was telling my wife the other day, I said in my study time, I was looking at Noah, since we talking about, God and stuff like that. And Noah had to be the best version of himself to do what God had him to do. And so, saying I got that nugget when I'm like, dang, Clarence, you got to be the best version of yourself every day. Because there's times when I just don't want to do it. I don't want to do a lot of stuff, but I have to put my foot on the gas and continue to go. I was sitting down with my son today, literally. My son, he dances, and I'm a person of the art. And so if I can be in an environment where it's creative, you will see more. So I sat down with him and I was showing him a dance video that I found of myself. I just danced. That's all I did. Put me on stage, it's go time. All I need to know is what I'm doing. And when that music come on, it's go time. And my son does it. So I have to share those things with him more and more. And I told him every day I need a hug from you. Every single day. Why? Because my dad didn't do it. He did not hug me every day, but every single day I was like, I didn't get a hug. Why? Because I need that connection. I need that push. I need it. I need his energy. And so, every day I'm learning how to unpack Clarence because I can't give 100% to my wife. I can't. There's certain things like I got to work on learning how to be more open with my feelings. I've been so numb for so long, fellas.
Yes, sir.
It's scary, and I'm like, man, where did that zeal go, Clarence? And so every day that I get online, sometimes I share. Like today, it's funny. I was sharing about being coachable, and then you start talking about it. I'm like, okay, God, yeah, that's be coachable. I was with my mom today. I had to go back home and just talk to her. Like, Mom, tell me a little bit about me. Because I've been so numb and my vision got so blurry. I get so frustrated sometimes and I don't talk about it. I get frustrated because like I got this burning desire to see people win. But then I'm like, God, what do you want me to do? Because like, I know I'm doing a business to help people with their health and wellness. But then I also know that you're allowing me to meet different people and things. But then sometimes I go back to meeting the old Clarence, which means I shut down. Don't want to hear it, and I just close myself off. So just sharing my story a little bit at a time because I'm not all the way there yet where I'm just going to boomerang it out there.
Yeah.
But when it comes out, I believe that it's going to set young men free, So, yeah, it's a process. So, yes, sir.
Stick with the process. I think I said I shared my full story last year. I've been speaking as a motivational speaker up to last year. It was about 8 years in the game. And I still hadn't shared my full, authentic story. And it wasn't until I did that I was able to see the impact that story had for other men.
Right. What do we think? Because a lot of, and I'm hearing it a lot. I've done the same. What do we think? What do we think? What do we think people are going to? Do we sometimes feel that people are going to respond to us in a certain way, or is it just us? When we feel sharing that story.
It's us.
Brandon,
I think it's us.
It's us. Brandon, what you think, Brandon?
I think it's us, man, to a certain extent. You know what I mean? It's just we can come off. First off, we're Black at the same token. And when people receive our, whatever we come off of, rather than sometimes hear what we gotta say come out our mouth, they first thing to focus on is, our look, you know what I mean? So it can be us at the same time, but sometimes, it can be how a person perceives what we say too. So this is a double-edged sword, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I mean,
so Vic, how have people started when you said when you started sharing your story, were you shocked at how people kind of gravitated toward what you were sharing?
So I don't know if any of you have ever looked at the comments on the news post on social media. When they post, it's tense, right? It's racially tense, it's sexually tense, it's all kinds of tension on them posts. So when the news picked up the story, I'm like, oh man, they coming for me. And when I tell you, people say what they want, man. It was white, black, Hispanic. I mean, the love was through the roof. The encouraging words was through the roof. And going back to, it was us, right? It was me that was so embarrassed that I didn't want to tell nobody, that the moment I told somebody, I was surrounded by people. Man, I had a Toledo police officer. She reached out to me, man. I just want to meet you and give you a hug. Like, it just, the love was like, me, the guy in the mugshot? That's, you know, and she like, no, like, you know, she works in the community. She like, everybody makes mistakes, and no, you know, I love your story. And she keeps up with me to this day. So, you know, yeah, I understand racism is real and all of that, but man, sometimes, man, it's just us.
Yeah.
Right? In some situations, it's just us. And we gotta unpack the past and the pains that we have, so we can carry a new life or a new way forward, right? My message has always been the same, and it's still the same. I didn't wear my shirt tonight or my hat tonight, but heal the hood. It wasn't until I had to heal the hurt boy on the inside that I could grow. And a lot of times I cover that up with these labels, right? I got Gucci on, you know what I'm saying? I'm fresh, you know, I got a lack in the dry. I'm covering up with these labels, but I'm still broken.
That's good. You said something right there. I see a lot of.
So now I don't even wear labels. Yeah. I don't care what the label is, you know what I'm saying? And if it has a label on it, it's tiny. Because now my mind is, I'm a businessman. They ain't paying me for that.
Right.
Exactly.
I'll wear one of my boys' shirts or something before I wear that shirt.
I heard that.
So I got shirts with sayings on them, and that's it. I'm not advertising nobody, because I'm no longer broken trying to hide behind the fact I got a pair of J's on.
Right. And you know, Vic, I think a lot of young youth need to hear your story, man, because you know, so many times you hear, "Oh, I'm a product of my environment." It don't have to be that way, you know. You're a product of whatever you want to achieve, you know. And a lot of these kids think, you know, they don't, you know, at the end of the day, you know, a lot of these kids' fathers ain't at home. A lot of them are coming up in a messed up situation. So when they hear stories like yours, man, it's inspiring, and it puts kid in another mind frame to know that what they grew up out, what they're growing up in, they can become better. You know what I'm saying? And you are a prime example of that. So yeah, kudos to you, man.
Yeah. Now, one thing I will say, go ahead, Chris.
I'm gonna say what it tells me, man. It tells me that there's no more excuses, man. If you can do it, they can do it, and it kills all excuses. And sometimes people use excuses like crutches, like, "Hey, I'm a first generation student," or "Hey, I don't have a father in the house," or "Hey, my mother's not in the house," or "Hey, I have a disability," or "Hey, I might be gay," or "I might be, you know, I can't read." At the end of the day, you let that gas, you let it fuel you up and say, no, it's no longer I can't do it, but I did do it. It's no longer I'm not going to try it, but I did, I achieved it, and I'm on to the next one. And so, like we said, man, your story, everybody likes to see the underdog win. They like to see, and they call you the underdog with all the pressure on you, and with everybody pointing at you and saying you couldn't do it, and saying that, you know, you should be ashamed, you should quit. No, that gives you more fuel. And so, man, as a Black man, I am so proud of you, man. When I saw that on Facebook for the very first time, man, matter of fact, I'm sorry, your name is no longer Victor, bro. And I don't care what you say, it's just it's Dr. Coleman, because you give respect where respect is due.
I appreciate it.
So, man, Dr. Coleman, man, I really appreciate how you're transparent with your story. And people, I think when a person's telling a story anywhere, the same with you, Clarence, you tell your story, but be authentic and real, and be like broken. Listen, I ain't trying to go Bible, but man, God says I want a broken and a contrite heart, like a spirit that's broken. And then he can work with you. Then he can really, really work with you. And so right now, you just said, hey, listen, I'm about to open up, pour out, and say, bro, this is me. And people, they're drawn to that, man. You contagious and infectious in a good way, though. And so, man, we appreciate you, man. We need you to give your story to the masses, for sure.
Yep. And so saying that, you know, Vic, Dr. Coleman, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What do you, so you've gone through a lot. You've gone through a lot in your life. You've through a lot to get to where you are. Tell us a little bit about some of the things that you have turned your some of your pain and your past, and how you've changed and turned that into some of your gain in life.
So, I mean, just one example, using my story, right? My story created a platform in itself. Now I got phone calls from all across the country to come speak, right? My research is based on what we're dealing with in America right now. African Americans who've had a Caucasian mentor, what were the experiences? What were the outcomes, right? So now I'm moving into creating a model to go inside of corporate America and speak that. So I've used everything that I've experienced, right? Use my pains, right? I struggle with dealing with the man don't like me, to wait a minute, but there was, I just said on LinkedIn today, my mentor for my PhD program was a white man. And he, first thing we talked about was, hey, first thing he says, I'm white, you black. Let's get this out the way, right? Let's get it out the way.
Yep.
And
Right.
and we got all those societal barriers out the way. And what I learned was he was a man like I was a man,
Yep.
right? And that's it. We just had a different shade of skin. He grew up poor, I grew up poor, right? But sometimes we often think that because they're white, that they grew up in this fabulous life and they won't understand. But what I found out was he did understand.
Yep.
And he helped me get through a process where I wasn't even the most comfortable or confident in. And he helped my confidence grow along with the little people in my life, right? So I use my story so now I can travel as a motivational speaker. I just picked up a contract where I have to post once a week about mental health. I get paid to post about mental health once a week on my Facebook page.
Wow.
I was already posting about mental health, but now I get paid to post about it. Using your pain and healing and growing, now I'm being paid or blessed to continue to share it and encourage others to get healing. Why not? You know, I got the first book is almost done. That'll become, we probably wait until next year to come out, let COVID get done with what it's doing. So the first book is almost done and we already about to start the next book. Like, it's just opportunities that are coming from the pain, right? When I talk about sleeping on my mom's couch, and I didn't want to go back to the streets because I can get money in the streets, right? But I'm sleeping on my mom's couch and I got child support taking 60% of my income, making it hard for a brother to get on his feet. And I became a bitter baby daddy. And I didn't want to be bitter, you know? And I remember in that scenario, before I became a supervisor, I'll never forget it. It was October of that year, 2011. I stood in the mirror and I said, the scenario won't change if you don't change, sir. I had to take accountability. I used to blame my kid's mom for being pregnant. How can I blame her for being pregnant like I wasn't active in the act? But that's what we do as boys, right? Oh man, she trying to set me up. Man, you knew what you was doing. Sit down, dude. Like, but that was who I was in that time. And I had to grow up really quick. Like, hey, the spirit's like, no, dog, it ain't gonna change until you change. So when I made the conscious effort to change the way I looked at the situation, that was October of that year. December of that year, we went to court. They were trying to raise my child support. She asked me, she said, can you pick me up? I'm gonna ride with you to court. I'm like, all right. So I picked her up. We was on our way to court. She said, when we get to court, ask him to cancel it. And I'm gonna sign off.
Oh.
December 2011, and I haven't paid a child support payment since.
Wow.
I was promoted. Now watch this. Because God deals with us in our mind, right? And I tell people we got to deal with our mind before we can deal with our grind. He dealt with me in my mind in 2011, the end of 2011. I was promoted to supervisor in June of 2012. My income more than doubled.
That's heavy.
Now I didn't get all sweet and egotistical or nothing like that, right? You know, if she needed a few extra dollars, right? If you hurting, the kid's hurting, right? I made sure that I didn't forget how I started, right? because she could have been an a-hole and not be like, no, give me all of that y'all, and oh, he just got a promotion, give me all of that. Like, she didn't do any of that, you know. And then I end up with my kids living with me. You know what I'm saying? It's just we developed, and I'm not saying we best friends, but we grew and developed more of a co-parenting, peaceful friendship relationship that allowed us to be better parents.
Yep. Awesome. I know we're creeping up on 10 here, but you know, these moments go very fast, man. It's a very good conversation. So to Chris's point, man, everything that you've talked about, you've had every reason to stop. Every reason to stop. And you continue, and this is why I appreciate you so much, man. You continue to pour in. You continue to pour in. As Dr. Coleman just talked about, every Tuesday he's giving his time and making sure other people get knowledge and understand. And that's why I wanted him to come on, because we all got to get to a point where we're not just trying to get. Sometimes we got, and I think this in everything you just said, you know, you got to give, and then things will come to you. You know what I'm saying? So the information that you continue to share, your story, all the different, you know, ventures that you're in, man, I applaud you. I think everybody on here recognizes that, you know, there are always going to be roadblocks. There's always going to be roadblocks. There's going to be things put in our way for us to give up, you know. And I talk about us in our business and whatever, but everybody got something out there that, you know, it's always something. It's always something. But if we put ourselves in position to kind of take the blow and deaden it a little bit, because it's gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's when we start to move through life a little differently.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I want to thank you for coming on, and I want to give opportunities for the gentlemen to share any final comments they may have, and then we'll wrap up with you. We'll start with Brandon. You got any final comments? You're on mute.
You're mute.
There we go. When Dr. Coleman had made the comment to make your why, make your why so freaking intimidating to where it scares you every time you think about it, you know.
That's good.
Change is a must, man. And in order for, you know, for us to become better, we can't do what we did in the past. We got to do different stuff. We got to get out our comfort zone, you know what I'm saying? And get comfortable with being uncomfortable, you know what I mean? So period, point blank, man, that, you know, the journey is going to be rough, but you know what? We all built for it. And yeah, let's just do this, man. I love this, man. And I appreciate you coming on too, Dr. Coleman. I've been, like I was telling Rob, I know you for years, you know what I'm saying? And to see your progression, man, you blessed, man. Flat out. And I appreciate you on the show, brother.
Appreciate it, brother. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yep.
Clarence?
What I would say, I took some notes down, but the one thing that kind of stood out to me is, you know, when you're open to God, when you realize that there's a higher power, what I got from what you're saying, you can't fail. So that's what I got from everything that you're saying. You like, God said, you do this. And you was like, nah, but God said, what did God say? You know, and it is, you know, remind me of Moses. You know, God ain't asked Moses about his problems. He said, I want you to do this. And so, you know, you motivated me to understand today, what did God say? you know, if God said it, it is so. So, you know, I got so many notes, but I thank you, you know what I'm saying, for sharing your story. It's so powerful, man. You keep going, you keep believing, you keep putting a dent and wherever you need to put a dent in. And just know, you know, you inspiring a brother like me, you know, that lived in the hood. I get it. So I'm coming out with my hands up, knowing that God got me. And I can look to another brother that said, he had me too. So thank you, sir.
Thank you, man. Keep doing what you're doing as well, man. Blessings to you.
Chris?
No, I got several things, man. First and foremost, man, I am my brother's keeper, man. I am. We have to tell our stories, man. Sometimes our story that we tell, we think that it's gonna make us look bad, it's gonna make us feel bad, but sometimes you gotta get it off your chest. It's almost like you're being embarrassed by the process. The process is what it was. You had to go through what you went through to get to where you are. Nobody has a better story than you. Nobody has a story. How can I say it like this? Nobody can tell your story better than you. You lived it, you experienced it. The good, the bad, the ugly, nonetheless, it was an experience nonetheless. And so you did a complete 360. No, you didn't do a 360 because if you did a 360, you're right back where you was. You did a complete 180. And your story has been impactful. And as I said before, get it out to the masses. You might need to write you a book if that's not in the works already. Write you a book. But what it tells me is that when you can have a plan, it's just a plan until you put it on paper. You put pen to paper, things begin to happen. But on top of the pen to paper, when you lace it in prayer, things begin to fall into place. You know, here you are with a PhD, and you went through what you went through. Here you are, here you are. Everybody right now during the pandemic are getting unemployed, but here you are getting a job interview or opportunity. It says, if thy ways please the Lord, you can ask what you will. And so all you did, man, God gave you a vision. Sometimes you get distracted by things that really don't make sense and really don't matter. And so what God did, he sent your child to redirect you and to focus you. Your lens was tainted and skewed. Everybody has lenses. If you think about what do they call that they put in your eyes? What are they contact lenses? You can put blue eyes, you can put yellow eyes, green eyes, gray eyes nowadays. But at the end of the day, your lens, depending on what your lens is, if you're looking at the wrong thing, you're gonna fall. And even as close as you were, you're gonna get a master's. And that's not. Sometimes we stop at what God, and God has more for us. And we're conditioned to say, hey, I did enough. God says you have more in you. And so continue to do what you're doing. And the crazy thing about it, man, Dr. Coleman, there's a whole lot more you're going to do. It's a whole lot more, Brandon, you're going to do. Rob, Clarence, you are going to do. And so even though we're going through what we're going through, you know, and I'm done, I promise. But if you look at things on your keyboard, you have escape, you have backspace, you have delete, you have insert, you have tab in, and then you have the space bar. But they all play a different function in our lives. And this, just like us, people have a role that we have to allow them to play. And that's your children, that's your wife, that's your friends, that's your associates. And so make sure that you associate with the right people, and you'll be able to get into the right places quicker. So, man, kudos to you, Dr. Coleman, man. We love you for sure, man. And I don't expect nothing but the best for you, my friend.
Thank you, my brother. Thank
Awesome. So I'll say something real quick and I'll let you go. And my biggest thing was, I love the 10% of your time, 10% of your grind, 10% of your dime.
That's hot. That's hot.
I hope everybody wrote that down. But it doesn't matter who you are or what you come from. You can do it. You can do it. There's proof right here. It's just in all of us. Again, you had every excuse to give up, but you are now turning your pain into your gain. So that's what I want everybody to walk away with. Your life story is tailored to you, for you to use it for you and the people that you will come in contact with. And that is all I'm gonna say. Go ahead, sir.
Victor, before you say something, Dr. Coleman, one last thing I want to say. You draw your biggest crowd in your crisis. You draw your biggest crowd in your crisis. You can go through something. You can go in there and say, hey, I got a PhD. People wouldn't even respond to you.
Exactly.
Because you went through your crisis and you exposed your crisis, that's where everybody jumped on like, man, I want to hear his story. So you draw your biggest crowd in your crisis. So be careful how you handle your storm, because you could lose your greatest witness. In your storm that you went through, it was necessary.
Absolutely.
You're not staying in the pain, you're moving through it. And so you went through this. And if you put on there right now, hey, I got a PhD. Oh, here another black dude with a PhD. Okay. You probably get about 500 likes. But because you talked about the storm associated with where you went, that storm, people are like, yeah. So you be careful how you handle your storm, gentlemen, because you draw your biggest crowd in your crisis. That's all I got. That's all I got.
All right, so I'll close out with this. First, I want to say thank you again for the platform and for what you guys are doing. I think it's phenomenal. I think we need more of it. So anything I can do to support, please let me know. I'm gonna do a shameless plug. I am opening a podcast studio with 2 business partners. August, it will be open. Lease is signed on the building. Equipment is in. We're launching that in August. So if y'all need a different platform once COVID is done and y'all want to get in one room and get that energy flowing, let me know. Let's make that happen. But I want to
working already. Guy working already, y'all. Guy working already.
I want to say this: exposure is transformational.
Yeah.
Exposure is transformational, and I want people to understand that an opportunity isn't an opportunity until you've been exposed to it. An opportunity isn't an opportunity until you've been exposed to it. So young black boys or girls in the inner city who want more but haven't been exposed to more, I don't want people to judge them. Let's go expose them to something different. My life changed because somebody came along and exposed me to something different. Did I get it right away? No, but the seeds were planted. So one day they would grow. So let's go and expose the young people. Yes, young people, let's get old people as well. Let's get rid of our excuses, right? We good for making excuses to let us stay in a place of comfort. Let's get rid of our excuses. And if you want to be a whatever, go expose yourself to what that is so you can grow. There are a million people that look like you, don't look like you, that will help you grow, but you got to expose yourself first. So exposure is transformational. I want to say that. And the other thing I want to say is listen, financial freedom is all in the mind. If you live like you rich, you're going to die like you poor. Yeah. And I had to learn that. Like that young man told me, hard work pays off, but smart work pays more. Put your money to work for you. Put your money to work for you. And there's so many things, ways you can do it. And I try to show that on Tuesdays on the webinar. There's so many ways you fellas are doing it with your businesses, right? I mean, there's so many ways where you can work and not go to work, where you can live good and not go break your back. You know, we talked about the underdog. I think it was Robbie, you mentioned the underdog, or maybe it was Chris. I love underdogs, right? I love underdogs. And everybody was trying to trade stocks here recently. Rob, you know the story. For me, I seen people buying the Apples and the Teslas, right? The big dog stocks. I came in the game and I made good money. I came in the game and was like, where the penny stocks? Give me the penny stocks. And I started trading penny stocks. Right. And I went from making $150 a day on penny stocks to as much as $14,000 a day on penny stocks. So what I figured out was, I don't care how much money you have, if you take the time to sit down and expose yourself, learn it, apply what you learn, you can be successful too, off penny stocks. Penny stocks. I mean, I look for stocks less than $1. That's, if it's more than $1, I don't want it.
And they say pennies are for millionaires.
Yeah, I don't want it. If it's more than $1, I don't want it. So I've made my money off stocks that were trading less than $1 a share. And now I try to teach other people how to do that, because the average person in our situation, in an average situation, can't afford to go buy Apple stock and leave hundreds of dollars sitting somewhere and hoping it grows. The average person can't do that. But you can go buy that stock for 2 cents. Buy you a couple 100 or 1,000 shares, let it sit for a little bit, watch you grow, and pull your money and go to the next thing, the snowball effect. So I want to leave with that. Exposure is transformational. if you want to grow, go expose yourself to something you want to grow in. And remember, man, give 10% of your time, your grind, and your dime, and watch how God bless the rest. That's it.
There it is. There it is. Hey, everybody, Dr. Coleman dropped a few nuggets on us. He got so many more, so many more. But thank you for joining us. Can you let them know where they can find you? If for those that don't know, and
Absolutely.
anything you want to let them know about, I think you got a seminar coming up.
Yeah.
Have a few spots left.
Okay, I'll plug real quick. You can find me on social media, VJ Coleman Jr., VJ Coleman Jr., V as in Victor, J as in James, COLEMANJR, on every social media platform. I don't use TikTok, but I'm on there. But you can find me on every social media platform. If you want to text, I'm a texter. You can join my text community, 419-909-6196, 419-909-6196. Somebody thought I was a robot, but I really text you. The first text is an autoresponder. The rest come from me. It's right here on my phone. I promise you, I literally have 2 phones. So don't think it comes right from me. And then the last thing I'll say is, if you really want to look to grow financially, I got a seminar that starts Monday, and we diving into stock trading. I'm gonna teach people how to trade these penny stocks. And my goal for that 4 weeks is, by the end of the 4 weeks, you will make the money that it cost you to take the course back and some. As long as you follow the principles, you will make that money and some. I haven't traded stocks in 2 weeks. I'm gonna leave it at this and show you what I mean. I haven't traded stocks in 2 weeks. I got on today, made some trades, and made $2,000. I study the market early in the morning. I run my charts, and it works.
There it is.
Now, you lose money in stocks if you buy the wrong ones. I don't want people to think it's all wins. You got to execute at the right time and with the right time. So that's it. If you want to learn and grow, you can get that information. Just text me. I'll share it, or you can go to vjcolemanjr.com, and the information is there as well.
We'll be talking soon. We'll be talking soon, Dr. Coleman.
There it is. All right. Hey, thanks again for everybody for joining us. We'll be back again next week, same time, same back channel, 9 o'clock here live on Facebook. Again, thank you so much for taking the time to spend with us, Dr. Coleman.
Absolutely.
And many blessings to you, and thank you.
Same to you, fellas. Peace, love, and blessings, and let's take flight.
Yes, sir.
Be safe.